I know you hate every sentence that starts with "we need."
Yeah, most of them. But shalom, shalom, one and all, one and all. Wake up, Jacob. This is IP, and I just wanted to, I guess, go over a couple of notes, a couple of things I was thinking about, some recent things transpired, and I just want to give some tidbits and some insight in some of those things. But before I do, and run my mouth over and over and over, let me do a sound check, if you don't mind. So, if you can hear me, put in 100. If you can hear me, put in 100. Shalom, Lisi. What is going on? Shalom, shalom. All right. So, give me put in a 100 if you can hear me just fine. Ronnie Rain, Ronnie. All right, brother Rainer, brother Rainer. Now, you're gonna have to help me with the enunciation, right? Is it Rainer or Rainier? Because I find myself saying Rainier, so you're gonna have to help me with that. Is it Rainer or Rainier? So anyway, talk about a couple things. Some news of the day. We saw an article about some really huge. Yes, the first one, Rainer. Okay, yeah, so Rainer, Ronnie Rainer. Okay. Um, huge fires is wiping out a lot of land and killing animals and things like that over in Australia. I was looking at an article about that. Um, and that's unfortunate. You know, this is signs of the times. I want to keep you guys up to date, and I want to stay abreast of the things that are happening like that, so that we can might be shalom shalom. Uh, Appreciate you joining. But I want to keep us all abreast of what's going on, things like that, what's going on all over the world. I don't care. It don't have to just be something right here in America. We saw that America had, I guess, killed someone over in Iran, so there could be potential war between the U.S. and Iran. So that would be America, and Esau. Okay, adhere, shalom, shalom, my brother, shalom, shalom. So you know that could be potential there. A lot of things to watch out for. We still got crop failures. We still got different severe weather and the natural disasters and stuff. Like I just talked about Australia and the fires and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff going on that really should get our eyes open and say, you know what, let's get serious, right? Because I know a lot of people are going to say they might be pessimistic and they'll be like, well, stuff like this has been happening and so on and so forth. Okay, at some point, it's going to be the last time. At some point, it's going to be that last straw that breaks the camel's back. At some point. So the question is, where do you want to be when it happens? When the other shoe drops, where do you want to be? That's the question, right? So that's why I want to just bring you guys some news updates, things like that. That's why I'll get on here and you'll see me go over some articles and things that we're looking at, and go from there. And again, we want to talk about homesteading. Yesterday we were talking about the business of homesteading, some things, because people, I mean, for before SHTF, we gotta make money. Shalom Zen. What's going on, sister Zen? So we have to make money. So that's why we talk about the business of homesteading and things like that. We go over those things. So I'm just gonna share that stuff with you guys right now. Chronicle my journey, and then of course let you guys know what's going on in the world. So, but this particular one is gonna be another biblical marriage one, and it's really about the art of assimilation. Now, most of you guys will not need an education, a huge education on simulation, especially if you read Sister Gina's or Dr. Gina or Ema Gina, whichever way you prefer to address her. If you've read her books, and I've done a book study, me and my household, we've done a book study, and we went through the whole book. I'm still working on the second one, actually, but we went through the whole book, and she talks about assimilation, okay, and how important it is, how it's critical, okay, it's critical to the success and growth of a family. or a tribe. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, right? But before I get into that, I want to go over the process, because there's some people out there, they're looking for help meets, right? You're looking for a help meet, and someone actually asked on one of the streams. They said, well, how do you know, you know, how does the process work, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm going to go ahead and answer that right now. First and foremost, you got to understand each household, each patriarch, each man has his own process. Now, from a biblical standpoint, the process was very, very simple. It was simply, an agreement, a witness, and consummation, and that was marriage. Unique Taste of Soul and Sierra Harris, shalom, shalom. Awesome, you guys joined. But that, from a biblical standpoint, that's all it was. That's all it was. Ceremony was added later. We know the Messiah, he was at a wedding and all that. But look at the Old Testament, where all these weddings, right? There's not a whole bunch of weddings and things like that. You look at the account of Isaac and Rebekah. How did they get married? Okay, so basically, biblical marriage is just simply agreement. Got to have an agreement. Okay, agreement, witness, and consummation. That's it. Agreement, witness, consummation. Agreement, witness, consummation. That is biblical marriage, right? And that's important, obviously. If someone is like raped, that is not an agreement, right? So no. Okay, so it got to be agreement, witness, consummation. That's marriage. Everything else is just added. But since we have different sensibilities today, and society has become sophisticated, I kind of have a process, and it looks something like this. Because we have this idea of courting and things like that, right? So there is courting. This is how I do it. It's typically 3-step for a lot of people. It's just courting, betrothal, consummation. Courting, betrothal, consummation. And you're going to hear me repeat myself over and over and over. I'm doing that on purpose, not because I have short-term memory loss. But courting, betrothal, which today we would say engage or engagement, and consummation. You seal the deal. You go to the bedchamber and you seal the deal. That's biblical marriage today. Okay, the only thing different, okay, that I did. Now, again, this is not some hard and fast rules, and I'm not saying this is how you have to do it. Another man may do it a little bit differently. So you got to check with that other man. But I just told you what biblical marriage is, but I'm talking about the process. For me, it's discovery, courting, betrothal, and then consummation. Discovery, courting, betrothal, consummation, right? So I made the steps a little bit longer. Now, some people might ask, what's the time between each stage? There is no set time between each stage. There is no set time between each stage. You can go through all 4 stages in a week if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. You can go through all 4 stages in a week, okay? So I'm doing this to kind of help, brothers out there, whatever. You can do it however you want. I am not saying this is a hard and fast rule that you have to follow, okay? But these are the steps that I have, and these are the steps that I use, right? And so I'm just going to give you feedback on some of these steps. Again, let me repeat it, okay? And I'm doing it deliberately. Let me repeat it because some young ladies wish to be covered, want to join a house, so on and so forth. So I'm telling you that criteria right now. This is my criteria. So you need to check with another guy for his criteria, right? So again, it is going to be discovery. Now, what discovery is basically the initial phone call, the initial cup of coffee, the getting to know you, to ask the little questions, just to get to know you. Discovery doesn't usually last that long, okay? You can do that in one outing. I didn't say date, but just in one outing, one phone conversation, one cup of coffee. Or you can discover, just kind of see if there's any interest. That's the purpose of the discovery stage. Is if there is any interest whatsoever, right? On both parts. If there's any interest on the man's part, if there's any interest on the woman's part, and they want to go step further, it's like, okay, now from the discovery stage, because if someone's in the discovery stage, if you have a conversation, right, and let's look at some of the low-hanging fruit, okay, in the discovery stage, you're having a conversation, you say, okay, hey, do you smoke, right? I'd rather be with someone who doesn't smoke, right? Is it a deal breaker? Not necessarily, but I'd rather be with someone who doesn't smoke. But I can discover that in the discovery stage, right? So from there, now after discovery stage, I'm probably not gonna. Okay, let's say they smoke. I'm probably not gonna pursue that person. I'm probably gonna be like, okay, I'd rather not have a smoker. It's not a supreme deal breaker. You know, if I have this list of criteria, it's not a deal breaker. It's like a preference, right? I prefer someone doesn't smoke, not necessarily a deal breaker, right? But I can do that in the discovery stage to see if I want to move forward. That's the first phase. Now, let's say you don't have really any big issues in the discovery stage or anything like that. Obviously, that's the discovery stage is for the woman to ask questions of the man as well. Okay, just initial questions. Okay, if everything's okay in that stage, okay, then you go to step two, which is courting. Okay, you make it official. Hey, you know what? I would like to, pursue you. You want to? Would you like to move forward in courting? Now, courting is what we would say modern day dating, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you're going out on the town every other night, going to the club every weekend. It doesn't mean that. It's just that in that stage, we're talking to one another. We're spending time together. Whether we go out to eat dinner, whether you come to my place, your place, all that other stuff. Just kind of in an open setting. Okay, when it's open, not you don't want to have too many private alone times during this courting stage. You don't want to have too much of that because of temptation, right? You don't want to jump the gun because of temptation. So you don't want to have too much alone. If you're out in public, that's fine. Okay. If you're in community or mutual assistance group or anything like that, you want to let everybody know, okay, myself and so we're courting. You want to let people know, right? Because when to be the woman, you don't want to put her out there like this. You don't want her to be courting multiple families at one time, multiple men at one time. Okay, so it's a one thing at a time. That thing courting, right? Discovery stage, you can walk away if you're not interested in each other. No problem, no harm, no foul. There's no problem. The courting stage, which is like dating, okay. If things don't work out, you can break up. Everything's fine, no harm, no foul. Remember, you didn't do anything. Y'all never made it to that stage, to the consummation, right? Y'all never sealed the deal. So that's okay. Then, if everything goes well in the courting stage, then you go to betrothal. Now, betrothal is like you're engaged, is like you're married, right? So at that point, you're gonna need a get if you guys break up. You need a get. You need to do an official get. Type it up, email it, something, but it needs to be official, right? That says that this woman is free, okay, and you gave her a get. It means it's free. She's free. She's free to marry whoever she wants or whatever. That happens in that stage, betrothal, and it happens in the final after the final stage either, which is consummation, right? You seal the deal. Y'all went to the bedroom. Y'all sealed the deal, okay. So I want to go through those four stages: discovery, courting, betrothal, consummation. Right? That's a biblical marriage, and let's just talk a little bit about it. So I wanted to point all that out, and I know I did a video before. There's a video on my channel right now talking about the four stage, the courting process, and all that. But I wanted to lay it out again, so that is public knowledge. This is just the stage. This is how I work. Okay, that's how I work. I work those four stages. Now, a couple of tidbits there. All right. When it comes to assimilation, because the title of the video is the art of assimilation, we're going to start talking about assimilation. Now, I'm going to come from the male point of view. I'm going to come from the female point of view. I want to do both point of views, if you will. When you're in the courting stage and the betrothal, really the betrothal stage, you want to start the whole assimilation process. And I'm from a female perspective. When you're looking at a family and you're looking at your head, your husband, the man, the patriarch, right? All right, you are observing, and you want to be observant. You want to watch everything, watch his moves, watch how he does things, watch how he operates. But the purpose of you doing it is to assimilate, not to judge. It's not for you to judge how he runs his home, because you don't know yet. You don't know yet. You haven't figured everything out yet. You don't know. Okay, you have to watch. You have to assimilate. You have to get in, basically keep your mouth shut and see how things are done, right? It's like when I was in management, I would go to I take over as a general manager in retail, right? And one of the things I had done, they hired me, and I said, okay, so let's see what we're gonna do, right? So my first couple of days, in management, being in charge and stuff like that, I don't say a whole lot. I do a whole lot of watching and observing. Say a little bit here and there, just watching, observing, seeing what they do, how they operate, so I can see on a management perspective, so I can see what's wrong, what I need to do, to fix it, right? So I'll do that. Then I will start saying something after that, right? So I'll come in, I'll make a statement, from there. So women, when you're coming in and you're looking at the you don't there's not a whole lot of input you can have. There's not a whole lot of input. If they've been together 3, 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years, there's not a whole lot of input you can have early on. Okay, early on, you don't even know what's going on fully, right? You don't fully understand. So you want to be observant. Okay, I see a lot of different Facebook groups and stuff like that. A lot of times I see the person coming in, okay, the help me coming in, and they are very opinionated, okay, about the marriage when they're just coming in, and you have to watch, you have to observe. Okay, you're not gonna figure out a family in a week, right? You're not gonna know everything you need to know in 2-3 days. You got to observe. So that's one. Okay, for to assimilate. It's not to judge. It's to discern. It's to figure out how do they move together. You need to figure out what kind of dance is. Okay, so what you're doing, it leads me to another point I wanted to make, is that you're trying to, okay, when you're looking at the sisters, when you're looking at this family, you're trying to see how they operate. And if you forgive the metaphor, you're trying to see what kind of dance they're doing, right? How does it ebb and flow? You want to see what kind of dance are they doing? Are they doing the foxtrot? Or are they doing the Charleston? Or are they doing the tango? I mean, what are they doing, right? So then you can figure out how you dance and how you get in there, right? How you fit in there. That's what you want to do, okay? Now, from there, step 2 in the art of assimilation. Step 2, you want to learn his likes, his dislikes, his deal breakers. What are his likes, dislikes, deal breakers? That's what you want to discover. That's what you want to discover. You want to realize that the first wife, she's there to help you. Shalom, shalom, brothers, doctor. Shalom. She's there to help you get over the learning curve. See, the one that's already there, she knows a lot about your new husband. So that's a resource to you. That's one of the ways you can learn his likes, dislikes, and deal breakers, things like that. Of course, go directly to him. But on some things, you can go directly to the principal wife, that first wife. You can ask her. That's how that's how a lot of homes are set up. They're there as a resource. Okay, so you got to look at it like that. You want to look at it like that. You want to learn the likes and dislikes and the deal breakers and things like that. Now, as far as deal breakers, let me just a quick side note of that. On some of the deal breakers, you want to discover deal breakers. Now, that's for male and female. That's for the man and for the woman. You want the deal breakers to come out during the courting phase. You don't want it to come out in the betrothal phase, okay? Because that takes an extra step. That's called, you got to get a get if you're gonna get divorced, okay? And certainly after you before consummation, obviously. All right, that's the last step. You want to get the deal breakers out of the way early, right? So, and third, and I'm gonna go back to something I want to bring up in the courting, because someone said, how long? Remind me of this question. How long should the courting phase be? Right. So remind me of that question. Let me go to 3. Step 3 in this assimilation is you want to learn, women, you want to learn what you are to expect from him. Okay? So you want to get an understanding of that. You can, of course, go to him, go to your head, go to your husband, right? And then you can also ask, if the husband's unavailable at the moment, and if it's okay with the husband, go to the principal wife, go to the first wife, and you want to ask, okay, so what can I expect from him? What can I expect from him as my head? What can I expect from him as a patriarch? What can I expect from him? According, it's up to the individuals involved. Absolutely, absolutely. So, what the expectations? You got to go for the expectations, right? What's expected? What did you expect from him? But guess what else? He is going to give you his expectations of you. That's part of the assimilation process. He's going to give you the expectations of you. What do I, for using myself in the first person, is what do I expect from you? Period. And we need to talk about that. This is what I expect from you. A, B, C, D, and go from there. You want to know what's expected of you, right? That way you know if you're assimilating properly or you're doing a good job or not, right? So that's what you want to do. Okay? So, as a quick tip, one of the things, ladies, what you do not want to do not compare the households. Okay? Do not compare one man's household with another man's household. Don't do it. It's not going to work. It does not work that way. Every man runs his household differently. Okay? Every man's a little bit different. Okay? You cannot compare one man's household. All right? One man's household might require his wife or wives to call him master. Another man's household may not. One man's household, they may observe Hanukkah. Another man's household may say, no, we just do the holy days that are found in Leviticus 23. We don't do Purim. We don't do Hanukkah. We don't do the other stuff, right? You have to you have to make sure you do not compare one man's household to another man's household. Okay, whether that's a household you're coming from and you're trying to go to another one, don't compare it. It ain't gonna work. Or you just observing, which I don't know how you can make an accurate comparison there. How do you observe one man's household if you don't live there to another man's household that you're about to get into? But again, don't do it. It does not work. Okay, it does not work. Now, to answer that question, let's see here. I think someone was telling me how long. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so I will get to that. Okay, so how long should the courtship be? How long should it take? Right? So listen to me carefully, fellas. You should court until you have your first disagreement or argument. You should court until you have your first disagreement or argument. And you say, well, what if we never do? Okay, then you have to manufacture one. You have to see how this person, how this woman responds to a disagreement. Respond to your direction. Are you passionate where you're gonna, you're gonna raise your voice, you get upset, that kind of thing or whatever? I'm kind of a passionate person. Or are you, the strong silent type? You don't really say a whole lot. You don't emote very much at all. That's different. Each man is different. Because one man, some women may feel like one man, he's robotic, doesn't have any feelings, he's uncaring and stuff like that. That doesn't mean something's wrong with the guy. That's his personality, right? It doesn't mean that because he doesn't, he doesn't do that something's wrong. It also doesn't mean just because another man may emote, he may get upset, okay? He may, he has, righteous indignation or whatever. Doesn't mean something wrong with him. Each man is different. Be angry, sin not, that whole thing. Each man is different, okay? Each household is different, okay? So you got to remember that. So, again, this is critical. You should date until your first court, I should say. I want to use the right word. Court until your first conflict, even if you have to manufacture one. Yes, pick a fight, whatever. All right? You have to see how she's going to act and respond. You have to see that. You have to see that. Also, the communications. You want your communications to be as clear as possible, and if necessary, you may have to write some things down. You may have to write some things down. There's a lot of information, a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to know about you, but you may have to write some things down. Why? Because things get lost in translation, memory can fail, and you got nothing to go back to. So if you got to jot it down, send email, text, whatever, but it's right there in writing so that everything is cleared and laid out. Okay? Now, also in the courting phase, men, you should see every different emotional the emotional range during that phase. Women, you should see that man's emotional range. What's he like when he's happy? What's he like when he's sad? What's he like when he's angry? What is he like in all these different areas so you can understand. Phone about to die. Oh, shalom, brother. Shalom. Sorry about that. Phone's about to die. So you need to make sure that, right? You want to make sure. I'm sorry, but that's what it's gonna take. Think about this. You have one argument, then it's over. You didn't sin against each other. Y'all didn't seal the deal and everything. And then you break up. No problem, right? Exactly. That's what you want. So if you have an argument, no big deal. Hey, you go your way, I go my way. But when you don't find that out, then you're married, and then you find out, oh, it's something about that person you cannot stand, you cannot abide by. Now it's an extra layer that you have to put in, called a get. And now you have a failed marriage, there. So you definitely want to do that. You want to court until there is a conflict. Court until there's a conflict. Then you want to see how you guys recover from that conflict. Okay, these are some things that I'm looking at my process, and this is where you do you fine tune it. Exactly. Yeah, you fine tune it, see what's wrong with it, and you make tweaks. All right. So this is a system repair, it's system analysis right now. Okay. So those are my 4 steps, and there's a lot. I tell you what, a lot should occur during the courting process. A lot should occur. Okay, a lot. Period. Okay. Like I said, including an altercation, not physical, but including an argument, including because you want to see women when he gets upset. Does he start calling you all kind of derogatory names? Okay, you got to check. You might want to check that out, fellas. If she's supposed to be submissive and honor you and all that stuff, does she get disrespectful when she gets upset when you guys in an argument? Is she disrespectful? All of a sudden you just some dude, okay? You just some ninja off the street or something, or is there does she maintain a certain reverence for you regardless? And I say that because when it says do to reverence your husband just like you reverence Christ, then you have that. Then the question must be asked, okay? If the Messiah was standing in front of that woman, would she talk to him that way? Period. That is the litmus test. Would she talk to him that way? That's the question that needs to be asked. So that's what we're talking about. Now understand, women, hey, we're all flawed, okay? We're all flawed. We all have an issue here and there. I get it, okay? Now, woman makes a mistake, and then she comes back with a meek and contrite heart. She's showing contrition. She didn't. Okay, hey, you work through it. You work through it. But that's what you want to do. If you want to see how bad it can get, and you want to do that during the courting stage, right? So keep that in mind. All right. And then the other things, you want to test her submission during the courting stage. You just want to test a few tests. Test the submission, right? The other thing I don't recommend is trying to maintain a long distance relationship, meaning for a long period of time. I mean, if it's just for a little while, a couple months here and there, that's fine. But for a long stretch of time, when you're courting, that's really, really hard because it's hard for her to assimilate to you if she's not around you. It's hard for her to do that because she's doing her own thing wherever she is. She paying her own bills, she's doing her own thing. So it's a little bit hard. So try not to maintain a long-term relationship, at least not an extended period of time. Okay, so at least not an extended period of time. This will allow her, it's easier for her to assimilate to you when she's around you. She can see you, um, see how you operate, and you are moving into a phase to where you are taking care of her. Okay, you are ahead. You are doing the food, raiment, conjugal rights when you're doing the whole shebang, right? So when you're doing the whole shebang, it's just easier in that respect. Some people obviously meant long distance because we have internet, social media, and things like that. That's fine, but I'm just saying it just can't stay that way. You can't be at a distance for a long, long period of time. It's just not recommended. Okay, can it work? Sure, it can. Is it harder? Absolutely, absolutely. So it's not against Torah if you do it or not. Okay, so just to go over those things, and then we'll go ahead and close out. Let you guys go for the art of assimilation. One, women, observe to assimilate, not to judge. You are just observing. How does he operate? What is he doing? Okay, how does he do things? How does he run his household? That's it. Okay, period. That's all you're trying to do. What type of dance is he doing? So you can see how you get in, how you jump into the dance. All right. Two, learn his likes, dislikes, and the deal breakers. Okay, figure out the likes, dislikes, and deal breakers. Find out what those things are. I'm trying to help you. This is how you assimilate. And three, get the expectations. He should let you know what you can expect from him, and he should let you know what he expects of you. Period. Okay, and obviously, don't compare households. Court until there's a conflict, and fellas, test her submission. Okay, so if there's no questions or anything, I can go ahead and get on out of here. Shalom, Brianna, Janae, Walker. I think you asked me about a email, and I just checked today. I didn't see any email. It was you and then another sister on the last live stream. If I don't have the wrong person, asked that I never responded to an email, and I didn't see one. So but anyway, just remember those things. Just remember those things. Like I said, don't compare households. Court until there's a conflict, and then test her submission. So if there are no inputs in there, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go so you can enjoy the rest of your day. I didn't want to keep you guys. I wanted to be clear, concise, and quick. I wanted to bring that to you guys, and I will talk to you guys on another live stream. Guys, I appreciate you guys joining me for that. Listen, is being quiet for a woman the best way to assimilate or ask questions? Okay, you know what? That's a good one. That's a good one. So, Zen, I think asking questions is best. Yes, I think asking, yes, ask. I think asking early, asking in the discovery phase, ask in the courting phase. Just do it. Ask a lot of questions. I think you should. I don't think there's not. I don't think there's too many questions, right?
For our household, though, asking questions is great, but with you as a master, you have to master the art of asking questions, so like it doesn't sound like
rebellion.
Yeah, rebellion. Like you feel like there should be a better plan, so I'm gonna ask these leading questions.
Right, but I agree with that. But in this phase, in the discovery, in the discovery and the courting, it's not gonna be that big a deal. But yeah, in the relationship, because there should be a level of trust already, So yeah, so she was just saying. Oh, Sister Zen was saying shalom to you.
Shalom.
So yeah. So definitely ask questions, and if all is failed, ask questions. The main two stages that should have the most questions is the first two. That's the discovery. Shalom, Kimberly Wells. Discovery and the courting, right? You should have most of your questions should be answered in that stage. Okay, the betrothal stage. Remember, before you get betrothed to someone, there should already be a level of trust. You're intending to marry this man, right? You intended to marry this woman. So right there shouldn't be as many questions, right? Oh, that's a good topic. How does one ask without it sounding like rebellion? Okay. In the early stages, Sister Brianna, is not going to sound like rebellion in the early stages, right? In the first two stages, discovery, like if we have an initial phone call and you ask me some questions, I'm not going to think that's rebellion at all, okay? So you can ask that question. If we were courting, the same thing. You're asking questions because in that stage, I'm thinking you're asking to learn because you don't know, because that is something we all struggle. Yeah, because you don't know. Okay, you don't know this about me. You don't know what my preference is. You don't know. So that doesn't sound like rebellion at all. Okay. Um, so that's fine. In those first two stages, you should have most of your the critical, the pivotal questions. Okay, these are the questions that you need answered before you decide to move forward in betrothal. Before I say, hey, are you okay with us being betrothed, which is engaged? Okay, will you, like they say, will you marry me? Right. So you need the questions answered that's going to help you make a decision on whether or not you're going to say yes or not. So none of those questions are going to sound like rebellion. Okay. Now, when you ask those types of questions after the fact, after the deal is struck, after consummation, okay, it's going to sound like rebellion because it's like, wait a minute, So those pertinent questions, those burning questions, they need to be asked in those first two stages, right? They need to be asked in those first two stages. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. People jumping on. I'm about to get. I'm about to get off, and you guys are jumping on right now. House of Lee and Atara, Sister Atara said shalom to you too.
Shalom, Sister Atara.
Good question, Sister Brianna. I struggle with that too, and noticed being quiet was best for me. Yeah, I mean, I understand being quiet may work out better. Now, if you be quiet, all right, then if something happens, then you can't get mad about it because you didn't ask. You didn't ask. Okay, so it may be something that you can't rock with, but you didn't ask. So I understand people, they're struggling between not sounding rebellious or not right. rocking the cart and stuff like that. Right. So it's fair. It's fair.
There's two types of questions. Mm-hmm. The types of questions you're expecting mm-hmm. in the courting phase, that's going to be questions that are all right, or like, hey, what color do you like? Hey, do you like this type of mm-hmm. music? Hey, so your family, when do you do Shabbat studies, or mm-hmm. When do you do Bible studies? Those are those types of questions. I think there's another level of questions. Go ahead. That every time you ask those, it's not gonna go well, and they usually start with why.
Why type questions? Yeah. Why this? Why that?
Why are we? Why are we observing the Shabbat from sundown to sundown? Because mm-hmm. so and so they observe from sun up to sun up. Why are we, moving out of the city? Why are we, Yes, so most of those questions, if they start out with why. Yeah. Then automatically your master is going to feel challenged.
Right. Going to feel challenged because now he has to explain or justify to you.
Yes.
So, okay. So let me know. Did you guys hear what she was saying? Tell me, doing 100 or yes if you heard what Sister Rebecca was saying about the different types of question or different levels of question. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. So she did hear. Mm-hmm. So, and that's true. That's accurate. That is accurate. There's, why questions could almost put your husband on okay, wow, they all heard that one. Mm-hmm. So it can almost put him on the defense because you're asking why. You say, okay, listen, Sunday, everybody in the house, sundown Friday, okay? Everybody in the house, sundown Friday, okay? That's when we're going to do our Shabbat. We're going to do sundown Friday to sundown Saturday or 7-day night, right? And then when you say, well, why we're doing that, it's the spirit in which you are asking, right? They said, yeah, Adhere Seed says an excellent question. The spirit in which you're asking, why? Because now I'm on the defense. Okay, now I'm on the defense. That don't mean I'm going to be necessarily mad, but it depends on when you're asking, how you're asking, stuff like that. It just depends your circumstance. But then I'm like, look, because this is the Sabbath. That's the Sabbath. That's how the Hebrews reckoned Sabbaths. A very good explanation why people see it is rest. No more. Okay. No more why. Exactly.
That's what I had to learn as a wife. If a question starts with why, keep it to myself.
Yeah, she's right. Say, can you help me understand? Yeah. He said, preface it like that. Yeah. Can you help me understand? Yeah. Exactly. That was a very good point that she made. Yeah. Because I'm on this side of it. She's on the wife side of it, and so she figured out a couple of things. Yeah. That makes us feel, now we got to defend. When it's why, we got to defend. So, and as you can see, why kind of already sounds like a rebellious, it sounds, by its nature, it sounds rebellious,
It sounds like you already have a different
you
idea
you
how it
already
should
have
go
a,
in your mind.
exactly, it doesn't sound like you have a blank slate.
No, thank you, Sister Tara. I'm learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah, yeah, we haven't arrived, we're just learning. But yeah, so that, well, you got to watch out for those whys, watch out for, because just why, I mean, you guys went to high school, college, stuff like that, and your professor says something or whatever, and you say, well, why, blah 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 blah, the professor feels like, you know what I'm saying? You want to keep from saying because I said so, but they go ahead and try to explain, but it just feels rebellious. So good point. I don't want to beat a dead horse. I know you guys got it. So that's cool. So yeah, it depends on when and like I said, it's circumstance. Like I said, in the first two stages, discovery, we're on the phone, you don't really know me from Adam or whatever, and you're kind of asking, well, why this, why that, whatever. It's not as harsh, it's not as bad, right? It's not that bad. But later on, if we're betrothed or we seal the deal, we consummated or whatever, those whys is gonna sound bad. It's gonna sound pretty rebellious. So I get it. I get it. So if there's anything else, guys, if there's anything else, I will let you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, there must be more questions. Please ask questions. Sister, so brother prepper can't answer. Yeah, I mean, if there's any questions, feel free.
Brianna had one. She said, "How would you ask if you can do something that the family does not already do?"
If you do something that the family does not already do, give me an example, or else I may. Oh, like a new tradition. Ah,
Like,
okay.
maybe we don't do this, but maybe you light candles for Shabbat, or that's what I'm thinking. You light
Oh, okay.
candles for Shabbat, and
Okay.
we don't personally do that. How do you
Exactly.
ask your master? Can you start a different
Well,
tradition?
it's not in the program already. Oh, that's not a part of the like something they don't do already. Okay. Well, you have to first be prepared. First, be ready to for your head to ask you why you want to do it. Okay. Oh, like take a vacation. Okay, there's one. Okay, one as well. So, um, Sister Rebecca, I'll look at the vacation one too. But Sister Rebecca was talking about, like, light candles for the shofar, or blow a trumpet, or for Shabbat. For Shabbat, I'm sorry, light a candle for shofar, light a candle for the Shabbat, or blow the trumpet for the Shabbat, or something like that. And you may be like, well, you might go to your master and you be like, hey, I was thinking, there may be a good idea, or tell me what you think about, blowing a shofar every Shabbat, you know. Then just be prepared for him to kind of ask you, okay, well, why do you bring it up, or why do you think we should, or whatever. Now, you may have a biblical answer. You might be like, well, this why, that kind of thing. Or you can say, well, every new moon, let's blow the shofar. Then you would have a biblical answer. You'd be like, well, it says blow the trumpet in the new moons and stuff like that. That kind of thing. Now, if it's not quote unquote, a law, okay, then be prepared for him to, that he may go with it, or he may resist. He may be like, I don't think it's necessary, and you just go from there, right? Taking vacations. Okay, Sister Zen brought up, what about if you take vacation and but they don't normally do it or whatever? Yeah. Then ask, is there something against vacations, or why don't we take, well, that why again. Have you want to ask, have you guys taken vacations? Have you taken vacations? Why or why not? Where have you gone? Blah blah blah. Is that going to continue? Will vacations continue, or are they off the table? Or you can do that. Are vacations on the table? Okay, like that. Hey, go to your head and say, hey, are vacations on the table? Is that something we're going to do, or we're not doing, or that kind of thing. And then you have a conversation from there. Okay, just ask. So that's a better way of than saying why not, or whatever. Now, he might say it's off the table because, hey, I think it's frivolous, not enough money, whatever the case may be. Or he say, yeah, well, where would you like to go? Let's save up for it. So, But you had a question?
I was pointing. It made me think back, that question about can to new traditions and stuff. It made me think back to last week when you and I were writing, and I was listening to my audio Bible, and I asked you. I said I was listening to the account of David,
Mm-hmm.
and remember I mentioned to you how there was two. They were observing the new moon feast, and I was saying, they celebrated the new moon. It was like another feast,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, are we supposed to do that? And then that's when we had that discussion about it and
Mm-hmm.
how hard it is for Israel to agree on a calendar and all that.
Yeah.
So to me, that would also be another way. If there is a tradition that a sister's used to doing or
Mm-hmm.
something that she would like to do, my suggestion would be to find the scriptures
Yeah.
and read over those scriptures, and then you can take those scriptures, not like a aha, we're not doing this, I see
Right.
these
Right. Right. Right.
scriptures,
Yeah. No.
kind of like, can you explain what these scriptures mean to me? I was reading this, and this is something they used to do. Is this something we should do or something we don't need to do?
Right.
Because then that way that puts it totally in his hands, because at that time that I'm thinking about it,
Right.
and you also know there's no pressure on you. Not like it's like it's totally you're still in control.
It's the
I
man's
didn't bring
call. Yeah.
something to you and say I want to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still your husband's call
Yeah.
regardless. You know,
Yeah.
it's still his call regardless. Like I said, if it's not like a law,
Right.
okay, if it's not a law, then the wife, what you have to understand is that he may say no. Okay, you got to be okay to embrace that he may say yeah we'll do that, or no we're not. Okay, talking about, I'm not talking about issues of the law, okay? Because issues of the law is up to the Most High. If He say we got to do it or not do something, then that's just how it is. Oh, you appreciate the real? Okay, no problem. You appreciate the real examples. Okay, House of Lee. Another way he said, how do you feel about? Ask the question like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about? Right. Then your head can explain how he feels about it. Why he does it or why he does not. For example, some homes, I brought it up earlier. Some homes do Hanukkah and some don't, right? Even though most that I know, not everyone, most people I know, they have apocrypha as well. So you find Hanukkah in there. But Hanukkah, every time they dedicated the temple, it was a Hanukkah, because Hanukkah just simply means dedication, right? So some people do that. Some people don't. It is not a law, right? You can do it or not. Some households will do it by getting the menorah, light the candles, stuff like that, and some will not. Okay, so that's just optional. It's just optional. Like I said, I know not to say, well, I saw another yeah, exactly, because that would be quoting another. Absolutely, Brianna, you're absolutely right. Don't compare with another family, whatever, because first and foremost, that's really gonna make them rebel. That's a real. I don't care what another man's doing in his house. I don't care. That's not my house.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the attitude he's going to have. So absolutely do not compare. Do not compare households. Okay? So you're absolutely right, Sister Walker. Okay, so if questions are asked in an honorable way, they are usually met with a gracious response. Yes, typically, exactly. That's why I say it depends on the time, the situation, when you're asking, how you're asking, things like that. But yeah, absolutely. Generally, it's not that big a deal. Okay? You're very welcome. Do you ever find out about the complete Acro book? Explain that.
It says down a little red book, but it includes way more books.
Okay. Shalom Bowley. The little red book, but includes way more books. Talking about the Apocrypha? Sister Walker, you talking about the Apocrypha? Because I'm not sure what we're talking about. The little books. Oh, the Apocrypha. Did I find out more about it? Okay. Yeah, I looked into it. I looked into the Apocrypha some more. Obviously, there's some extra Apocrypha stuff. Like in the original Apocryphas, there's not uh, third Maccabees, fourth Maccabees. In the original Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament, there was no second Ezra, things like that. So yes, someone was saying there were more books to it. Yeah. Again, when you get an Apocrypha, originally there's only first and second Ezra, first and second Maccabees, not a Maccabees four and chapter 3, chapter 4, right? Now again, if you get a Septuagint, then there's no second Ezra. There's just a first Ezra, but no second Ezra in it. Yeah, but a lot of things in the Apocrypha actually lines up. I had to study it a lot. I had to study it a lot. I was one who did not support the Apocrypha really at all until I seen some things actually lined up. So, but that's going to be your own due diligence. That's your own due diligence. Speaking of the books, the lost books or whatever, I did a Bible study with on the Book of Enoch. I did a Bible study in the Book of Enoch. I think I did a lesson on it on the ministry page, but I also did a one-on-one book study with a potential I had someone I had, and we went over it, and I kind of picked it apart because the Book of Enoch just kind of falls apart as far as the dating, the inconsistencies, the contradictions, the things like that. I'm sorry if some of you guys really like the Book of Enoch, but hey, we can discuss it sometime. But I just found I found too many things wrong with the Book of Enoch, which is not in the Apocrypha. Okay, Book of Enoch is not in the Apocrypha. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Neither is the Book of Jasher, neither the Book of Adam and Eve. Those are not in the found in the Apocrypha. So just letting you guys know that. Let's see here. So how should a man deal with a woman whose favorite word is why? Well, ban that word. Ban that word. Just you're gonna have to. Um. What? Okay. What you'd have to do is let her know that she's not going to get the response she's looking for if she keeps asking, why. She's going to have to explain, okay, why are you keep asking? Well, can you not rephrase that? If it is at all possible you rephrase? In fact, when she says why, I would answer it all, right? I mean, if I'm saying this, if it's a point of contention, because it's not a point of contention for everyone. But if it's a point of contention for you, then let her know. I'm not going to answer the first why. And then in her mind, she's like, oh, yeah, he told me he didn't like it when I asked why. Okay, so she needs to figure out a different way to ask. Because the first one, I'm not going to even answer, right? If I had a problem with it. I don't really have a problem with why so much. I do a little bit. I do a little bit, but I'm just saying, I do. I have a problem with why. But what I'm saying is that what you can do is if you're like, look, I don't want to hear that why stuff come out of your mouth. If she does it, I'm not going to answer a why question. I'm just not going to answer it. And so when you ignore her from that why, she needs to already know, hey, you need to rephrase it, right? So that kind of thing. Mike B says, what is the Apocrypha? The Apocrypha is like 14 books that was between Malachi and Matthew. And it was contained in the original 1611 King James Bible. It was in there, and it was also contained in the Catholic Bible. It was later removed. A bit later. It was removed because they found it non-canonical or non-canon, or they don't find it to be scripture and things like that. But it was in the original Bible. It's also still in the Ethiopian Bible. So you can still find it around, but that's the Apocrypha. And Apocrypha just means hidden. Okay, it just means hidden. So these are the hidden books. Okay, so I hope that explains it. It's a red book that complements the Bible. You can find it on it. Yeah, you can. Yep. You can find it on Amazon. Absolutely. You can definitely find it on Amazon. Okay, so let's see. Is anything else? Man, you guys, y'all came alive on there. I was about to sign off and get on out of here. Appreciate you guys asking the questions. I appreciate you guys joining me on this. If there's nothing else, guys, I will leave you be. Let you spend time with your family. If there's no other questions on the biblical family structure or the art of assimilation, how can we become closer as a family, growing our tribe. That's my goal, and that's what all of us. All of us are like-minded individuals. That's my goal. That's what we want to do. I want to grow my tribe. I want to extend my family. I want to build my homestead and keep going from there. And I really thank Yah for the elders. So double honors to Elder Murray and Imagina for their book, for their works, for them really trying to help build biblical families. So that's my goal. So blessings to all of you. Okay, blessings to you and your family, and you guys are like extended family. So blessings to all of you guys. And if there's nothing else, again, I will let you guys get out of here. I'll let you guys get out of here. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comment section or whatever, and if there's any topic you guys want to talk about, you let me know. When this video is off, you put it in that comment section. Hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Whatever we need to do, guys. But the focus of the channel, just so you guys know, the focus of the channel is this. I'll let you go. The focus of the channel is about building community, about mutual assistance groups, okay? Brethren coming together, living in close enough proximity one to another in order to assist one another, in order for us to be able to worship our Lord in peace, okay? That's what we want to do. We want to worship the Most High in peace and comfort. We want to have righteous families. We want all of it. The focus is bringing up righteous seed, okay, and living set apart. Living set apart. That's the whole goal, to live set apart, because we want to do that which is pleasing to the Most High Yah. So that's what it's going to be about. Homesteading. Right now we're chronicling my journey. I'm here, I'm a camper. You guys know I went tiny. I'm in a camper, so I talk about that. I'm in a RV, so I talk about that, and talk about some things going forward into the homesteading. Now, once I'm out there, when I first get out there, I'm gonna be working with the brothers out there on their land, getting my skills up, learning things more hands-on. It's so weird. Only so many things you can do in this cold winter season. There's only so many things you can do. But anyway, can't wait to go ahead and get my hands in the dirt and get some work done. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that, and we'll go from there. So homesteading, family, that's what we're talking about. So you guys have any questions or anything, please put in a comment. You have topic suggestions, anything like that. If it fits in what we're trying to do, can't wait. Yeah, Brother Rainer. Yeah, Mo will be fire. It's gonna be lit, bro. It's gonna be lit. We're gonna get it done. We are getting it done. Because we're talking about getting together with some serious brothers and their families who want to be serious about building, about getting it done, about living set apart. So it's an honor. It's been a pleasure. And I'm going to see you guys next time. Stay woke. IP.